Well, before that brief interruption, we had been talking about what the National Industrial Training Authority is doing to upskill the youth, especially those who haven't had in terms of formal training. And giving us insight into that is the chairman of that body, Dr. Kamau Geshige. Is continuing with that conversation. You, of course, stopped at the point where you were telling us about the 150 million shilling loan from the World Bank to your organization. Please take us on from there.
So it's actually to the Ministry of Youth, but there's a partnership between that ministry, Ministry of Labour and Industrialization. And the idea, as I was saying, is to get people into employment. It could be in the formal sector or informal sector, or also into a small business. And where the informal sector is concerned, we've identified a type of an expert who we're calling a master craftsman. This is somebody who hasn't had the benefit of formal education, but we're saying if you come in, we'll evaluate your skills and we'll give you some kind of a qualification so that you can also train people in the Juakali sector or informal sector to be able to benefit from this loan and to be trained then to get more formalized work within that informal sector, because of course formalization of the informal sector is a priority for any government, so that you're able to get your taxes and so on and so forth. We're also very keen to bring on board new technologies. So there's a kind of a person, if you recall a while back, the PS of industrialization previous, Karanja Kibisho, he actually identified a problem with our Vision 2030, and that is we were not graduating enough engineers per capita to do what countries like Malaysia and so on had done, and yet the very few that we are graduating aren't able to find work. So you see there's a quandary there. And so we need to retrain them, but also we need to look at people who have that engineering talent in their blood, if you like. They don't have the formal education, and they can be given a certain introduction to engineering without going deep. And we call them makers. So these people can learn how to code, but without having to go deep into a code. So you'll use somebody else's code and tweak it where you need to in order to affect your own innovation. This is a powerful new resource for the country.
Finally, and we don't have much time. I want you to speak into what is happening in the crisis in the retail sector. Part of what has been said at the forum that was held here to discuss it yesterday is that there's no real training institution that trains people in retail and wholesale trade in Kenya. But then there's this mass of skill we've generated over the years that has brought us to where we are. How do we resolve crises such as this by, training these people on the job, as you were saying, very quickly?
Well, indeed, we have to find new ways to train people for the new changes. A lot of the changes have to do with IT. So you need to be able to train people in IT. A lot of it has to do with marketing. So teach people how to market better whatever it is that they have, how to access goods and services from outside to be able to train. So like there's certain people who have applied to do training within the context of the World Bank project who will introduce youth to start their own retail outlets using goods from China, but using a certain platform. So really just trying to use technology to allow people to learn new skills, to reorient themselves, to adjust for the realities of today. And the fact of the matter is NITA will give a reimbursement to any employer who pays a levy in order to train their employees. So that's an opportunity that we're hoping more will take.
Indeed, thank you very much, sir, for taking the time to talk with Dr. Kamau Geshige, the chairman of the National Industrial Training Authority, a body that indeed is right at the heart of developing the labor market in Kenya. Asante sana.
Asante sana.
Yeah, of course, that has been the perspective from what we were covering here live earlier on in the day, the launch of the Kenya National Labor Market Information System, a platform that has been created to empower you either as a businessman, an SME, an employer, or a job seeker to be able to interact with the job and indeed the job market and the rest of the economy from an informed, digitized and indeed modern perspective. Unfortunately, we are indeed out of time, and that's why we want to bring it to a close here on KTN Business Today. Up next is Worldview with headlines from across the region and right across the world. But before we go, I am told that there indeed is some breaking news, but not quite sure what exactly that is, but is something that we will be bringing you up to speed in just a few seconds.